Women Talking, written and directed by Sarah Polley, based on an actual account of a weird case that I think happened back in 2006 in Bolivia. This film is a bit more modernized and Americanized, or maybe Canadianized. I'm not entirely sure on the setting, but basically it's a version of 12 Angry Men, but with Mennonite women. It takes place in a deeply conservative Mennonite community where the women discover, much to their horror, that they have been sexually abused for years by the men of their little commune, who, initially basically said, like, oh no, you're being possessed by a demon or you're fornicating with Satan, as one does. But once the truth is discovered, the men are arrested, but in the 48 hours until they're released on bail, the women basically have a decision to make. Do they forgive the men as their religion dictates? It literally says, like, you have to forgive the men their trespasses or you don't get into heaven. Do they stay in their community and actively resist the men, or do they pack up as one and leave en masse? That's the central conflict of this story. The heads of three families meet together in a loft in a barn, with the minutes taken by the one man they trust, played by Ben Whishaw, and they just debate what are they going to do. It's a tremendous cast. Frances McDormand has a very small role, but she serves as an executive producer. But you also have Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Rooney Mara, Judith Ivey in the best performance she has ever given. She's mostly known for TV work, but she's absolutely phenomenal here. And there's a lot of really good, nuanced discussions going on here, because these are women of up to 4 generations, all of whom have been raped, sometimes even impregnated from it. And they have to reconcile their faith versus their reality and what they can honestly do to them for themselves to live satisfying lives while also being true to the traditions that they've grown up with for decades, if not centuries.
It sounds like a very compelling movie. Was it a play?
It it feels like one. Like I said, it's very much in the style of The Crucible or 12 Angry Men. There's basically just the one main set in the barn. Sarah Polley, like I said, she directed it and she wrote the screenplay. It's based on a nonfiction novel that was written in 2018. The screenplay is just phenomenal. Like it reads like a Pulitzer-worthy stage play. It really does. The directing leaves a little bit to be desired because there's not much movement of the characters. It's much more directing the actors' emotions. There's not much in the way of blocking. They basically just sit on bales of hay for the most part, occasionally standing up and walking to a different area of the barn. But I think that the quality of the performances and the absolutely stellar nature of the script makes up for that.
It sounds like a solid recommendation, solid review from you. I have to give you a couple of points off, though, for missing the obvious pun title, 12 Angry Mennonites.
Oh, jeez. Oh, but I'm sorry I missed that one.
My God, legions of dads are laughing right now. By
the Pennsylvania Dutch Masters.
It's but yeah, solid recommendation. Sounds like a really solid film.
Yeah, it's snuck in with a Best Picture nomination with the Academy this year. It's also up for adapted screenplay and has a very strong chance to win. So yeah, it's like this was kind of a sleeper. It had the qualifying run in December before a late January release as far as the wider thing, which sometimes can mean that they don't really have confidence in it from the studio perspective, or that they want to basically get behind the competition and win a weekend or two here and there, get the nominations, and then use that prestige to inflate their box office. I think this is the latter case. Like the people behind this, like I said, Frances McDormand was one of the driving forces behind this, and she's been the voice for inclusion quotas and equity clauses in contracts and all that other stuff, like over the last few years throughout Hollywood. So this is a very strong product, and I think they're marketing it effectively. And if nothing else, if you're skeptical about the film, the title tells you exactly what it's about.